This is TWiT.
The House has voted to save net neutrality, and the White House is, of course, going to veto it.
I feel like I have whiplash.
Yeah, this goes back and
seriously.
forth, except it really doesn't go back and forth. It's really, they eliminated it, and now they're just fighting and fighting and fighting to get it back.
Meanwhile, the states are going ahead and passing their own resolutions.
Right.
And
so the issue, and of course, that's problematic too, because the internet is a global phenomenon. It's absolutely
no, you're not wrong. I'm just saying I'm glad I live in the state of Washington. So at the very least,
you have the best. You have the best law of all, right?
Right. So at least until this is all figured out, I don't have to worry about my ISP being given information, regardless of what the federal statutes are. So
you're going to hear from the White House when they veto it, because they will, the Save the Internet Act. You're going to hear stats that are essentially bogus. Since the new rule was adopted in 2018, consumers have benefited from a greater than 35% increase in average fixed broadband download speeds, and we went from 13th to 6th in the world. By the way, even that's nothing to celebrate. In 2018, fiber was also made available in more new homes than any previous year. Capital investment by the nation's top 6 internet service providers increased $2.3 billion. Some of this, of course, has been ongoing for years. Anyway, there's a good Verge article that debunks a lot of these claims, and it'd probably be worth reading it. And let's not give up the fight for net neutrality, because we know that that's something that has to happen. 23 state attorneys general are have filed lawsuits, and state by state, of course, including Washington state. States are enacting their own net neutrality.
So that's awesome.
Yes.
That means we're going to wind up with one of the tech trends we talked about and modeled a couple years ago was splinter nets, which is not a term that I made up, but I mean, it's just, again, like this is so stupid. Like the last thing you want now is to have a state by have the states figure out how to handle this.
Absolutely.
How do you what does that do for business? It's
when
just
internet
stupid
data crosses state lines, what happens to it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, no, and it's happening on international levels too, right? Like with some of the different proposals
look at this
different
one.
countries are coming up with.
Like, I lived in Philly for a while. Is this going to be a thing where you sneak
I'm on the
Delaware
Philly
and get
internet.
cheaper
Hey.
booze?
The Philly internet's the best internet.
Over to like Texas to get slightly better. Like you're going to change your IP so that you're 10 miles away.
Now we have a good use for VPNs.
No, well, seriously.
50 servers, one for each state. You choose the internet you want.
How does that not wind up happening?
No, that's totally what's going to wind up happening, unless we can have an administration change and then roll back, this stuff, and then the FCC can do what it should be doing, which is to, protect people and not just hand everything over to the ISPs.
Although, as a classic example of what could possibly go wrong, the French Internet Referral Unit has reported to archive.org 550 of their archived URLs as terrorist contents, falsely, I might add. Takedown notices from the French IRU for a bunch, including, by the way, the Gutenberg, Smithsonian, the Grateful Dead. Actually, the Grateful Dead might be considered terrorists to certain government agencies. I don't know. Crazy.
What is possibly what was in that C-SPAN report? Like who was holding up what floor chart that was deemed
the problem is with the EU's laws, you get less than 24 hours to respond. The archive.org is panicking.
That's totally not the way that they intended.
No, there's a 1 hour. I'm sorry, did I get it? I exaggerated. There's a 1 hour requirement. You have to take those URL down immediately. You have 1 hour to do so.
Or what?
Or
somebody comes and yells at you
Somebody comes and hits you with a baguette. I don't know. I don't know.
I'll take that baguette.
I'll take that baguette. The French Internet Referral Unit falsely identified hundreds of URLs on archive.org as terrorist propaganda. The 1 hour requirement means, by the way, there was no one there when they came in. It was on the weekend. It's a mistake. Blocking procedures may be implemented against us, says archive.org, if we don't remove the content. So they'll be blocked in France. Splinternet. That's the in the. We
do not want the balkanization of our tech and our digital infrastructure. This gives extraordinary power to authoritarian regimes who would love to see us fighting these stupid, dumb. I mean, just these. This is just again. This is like. This is why regulation often doesn't work. I mean, I understand why we pursue it, but in practice, it doesn't work.
But you've been arguing for it all along.
No, I've not been arguing for regulation. I'm very much. I think the blunt instrument of regulation is not the smart way forward. The smart way forward is to come up with something we don't have yet, which I know is much more difficult. But we've got to figure out a way to collaborate. Where again, we have 3 like epicenters of power. At least in this country, Wall Street, D.C., and our West Coast capital, which is the Valley/Bellevue, and we got to figure out a way to get them to collaborate.
Oh my God, we're screwed.
Well, I'm just saying, like, otherwise,
it's not going to happen.
No, but regulation is bad, and this is another one of these things where, like, this kind of regulation, because it doesn't make sense. I mean, look, you just read it to us.
No, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
And France doing its own thing. And all of these different companies now and countries coming up with their own policies and value statements around all different types of technology, including AI. There's an evangelical group of Christians who have now come up with a Christian stance on what AI should be.
Oh God.
So this is my point. Like, we're all going about this. We're all doing our own thing, and what happens when everybody's individual interests wind up colliding, which they're going to, then you wind up with a takedown notice for floor charts shown on C-SPAN. It makes no sense.